Okay, so the topic of today is benefits of youth engagement. I recognize I am a very fast speaker. If at any time I am too fast, please someone let me know and I will try my very best to slow down. So it's a very, very broad topic. I have tried to narrow it down in a way that could be, I think, helpful to sponsors and anyone working with youth. So why is it important? That itself is a very important question. And I think it's a twofold question. Why is it important for the youth? And why is it important for organizations or sponsors working with them? So for youth, validation. So whether these are newcomer youth or youth who have been here for a while, either way, validation is a very, very key point. So youth feel heard and understood when provided with opportunities to be leaders, which result in a positive community engagement and motivation. Builds confidence and skills, so it promotes interpersonal and intrapersonal skills. They are the leaders of the future, right? It basically allows youth to explore their preferences, passions, and their career paths. You will see how many times when a youth is attending any group, it could be any group activity, a different topic, when they are doing that, it helps them discover the path that they really want to take, right? People will literally develop an interest in a certain program or project and realize that this is the career path that they want to choose. So essentially, you may have just assisted someone finding their career paths. It provides experience that can be essential for their employment and careers. So one of the biggest things that I have noticed is that a lot of newcomer youth, when they get here, they don't have a lot of experience. And in particular, they don't have Canadian experience, which is very important for employment, even education in Canada. Because one of the first things you are asked when you are seeking employment is what experience you have in relation to your field. And newcomers don't have any, right? Because they are new to Canada. And so when we are able to engage them in small certificate courses, small trainings, basic trainings, they can put that on their resume and they have now developed those skills and they can actually put it on their resume to reflect for their employers. And engagement equals opportunities. When youth attend programming within organizations or youth groups, it's an opportunity for networking. They connect with various stakeholders, with various MPPs even, and that really opens the door for their opportunities and helps them grow. And I will share some examples of how that has happened with our organization as well. And a sense of community and safety. Newcomers in general, and then youth, they lose a sense of community from the things they have left behind within their countries. And so when they join youth groups, whether it's a youth group or just helping as a mentor or helping as an ambassador, they are able to get that sense of community. And it encourages healthy habits. And what that means is it keeps them engaged. It's a sense of safety, right? Unfortunately, we see that some youth can get into different activities or sometimes crime or other things like that because they're so vulnerable and they're easy targets for people that exploit them. And so when they are engaged in events or different groups, that can reduce that risk. And why is it important for organizations? So feedback and program growth. So what I found is that youth are very honest with their feedback in terms of programming and their feedback. And so when we engage youth in our programming and when we engage them in various other projects, they provide very real and honest opinions and program evaluations and feedback for us to be able to improve that. And they play a very vital role in the growth of the organization as they bring in new skills, new knowledge, and they help keep us with the pace of the world. I think we would agree, post-COVID, the world took a drastic turn in terms of using technology. We have shifted now where it's a very virtual world. Looking at even our meeting today, right? A lot of learning has turned online and a lot of youth bring in those skills for us. So while we're engaging them, it helps us as well, right? We're able to see what we lack, what we need to improve on, and how we can improve on. And they bring in really, really good ideas, such as technology advancement, using all the social media, the websites that are keeping up, right? We have to keep up with whatever is being used. They have vibrant and creative ideas that they bring in for us. and they help organizations understand the needs of the population to reach the target audience, right? If we want to know what do youth need, we need to ask the youth, right? It's the best way to, if your target audience is youth, you need to ask youth. And the best way to do that is bring in focus groups and different mediums to actually engage them. So I want to talk about what works. So a needs assessment prior to any program or any event really is essential, but in particular with youth. So it is essential to conduct a needs assessment with potential partners, counselors, participants. And in this case, if it's youth, if there's a project or an activity that you are setting up for the youth in the community, we need to do a needs assessment with the youth, whether it's a survey, whether it's a focus group, interview, it could be a very basic Zoom call, and we need to see what is it that they really truly need, right? Because I find sometimes every organization has targets and we have funding requirements and we have to do certain programs. That's great. Unfortunately, what ends up happening is we follow our own agenda and sometimes it does not meet the needs of the youth. And so what ends up happening is youth attend events, but they're not going home feeling like they've actually learned or achieved what they had wanted to. And this is direct feedback that we have received from youth. And then something that works is incentives. So some examples are honorariums. So obviously if your funding allows, of even a very small honorarium of a gift card, it really, really works. So when we have a program, we design a flyer, and on the flyer, we always say honorarium. We don't specify what it is in case, you don't know what the funding is like, but it is definitely something that brings in more youth. Because if you look at newcomer youth, right, they're new to the country, they're really struggling with finding employment, education, and any small honorarium is a very, very rewarding thing for them. Support letters. Most times what we do is we write support letters. We have templates where we will say that this person has attended the following workshops and has benefited. And it's kind of like a letter that they could use for their employment, for their education, anywhere really. And certificates. So we often have certificates, even for computer classes, we had a youth advisory committee that we had last year. And what we did was we provided them, each and every them, with a certificate of completion with their name. And it was really meaningful for them. It was framed for them, and they have something now to display, something that they're proud of, as small achievement, but they're able to use that. And last thing is references. So we always try our best to support, especially newcomer youth. We all know that we need references for almost all master programs or employment. And if someone is new to the country, they do not have references in the country. And so we tell our youth that would be happy to be the references from these programs, which will then support them in the future. And I have provided a lot of references for youth, and they have been very grateful, and they are now, employed or in their master's program. So that's very impactful. And then I already kind of touched on this, but meaningful skill development opportunities and practical skills, so hands-on activities. So I talked about this. If we are running, for example, a advisory committee or an ambassador group where we are telling them that we will let youth be the leaders, right? But then when we actually have the events, ensuring that we actually follow through and that we're not dictating everything that they're doing, and provide them with meaningful opportunities to grow, right? Teach them how to actually do the things that we had promised we would. So I will give an example of all these in the next slide. Field trips, they love field trips. And one thing I love is that you can incorporate a lot of learning in field trips. So one of the field trips that our youth advisory committee went on last year was we went to the parliament, and we actually met with MPP Wong Tam. And MPP Wong Tam themselves gave us a tour. They showed us everything. Some of the students even exchanged emails with them. So they were able to go on a field trip together, have some fun. It's part of the city, they got to see the city. And then they also had some learning opportunity in there on how the parliament works, how the Canadian system works. So to make it engaging, but a learning process for them. And for that one was very cost efficient, right? There's nothing that you have to pay except for TTC cost. It's very cost efficient, and the youth really enjoyed it. And so the programs that I was talking about as examples, so the Youth Advisory or Ambassador Program, these are the two programs that we have run last year. And they both were very, very successful. So the advisory committee was, we brought in youth. They helped us conduct needs assessment with parents as well. And some of them were able to actually even translate or interpret for the parents, which that sense of community I was talking about was fantastic. They were taught research skills, something very basic, right? How to do research. They were taught presentation skills. They helped make PowerPoints and then presented. And then, as I said, we went to the parliament, and then MPP Wong Tam actually also came to our organization for the conclusion of the event and actually handed out those certificates to the youth. So they all now have a picture with MPP Wong Tam receiving a certificate. And some people may think it's very small, but these are really big achievements for youth, especially newcomer youth. And it meant a lot to them. And a lot of them have those pictures saved now. And it was, again, their feedback was that they would love to have another program like that. And we also did some technology stuff. We worked on Canva and making presentations and basic stuff like that. And they provided feedback throughout with, on how our organization runs, on the program, and it really, really helped. They designed t-shirts, something small, but designing t-shirts, for instance, that's something that could be turned into a business. So that's what the goal was, to teach them that if you ever want to start your business, how to start small, because a lot of people start small businesses like that, right? So just kind of incorporating everything into one program. And it wasn't a very long program. It was just a few months. And even the cost of it was very cost efficient. Research, program evaluation, and needs assessment. I already went over this, but if you ever need a program evaluation done of any of your other programs, bring in the youth. Get them to do the research, get them to do the program evaluations for you and the need assessment for you. That provides them with the skills, and you're getting honest feedback, as I talked about earlier. And then mentorship and befriender programs are really great. So what that means is pairing somebody who has been in Canada for a while with a newcomer. So mentors are typically for youth and befrienders are typically for older families, but it really helps. So we have a mentorship program here. And what we do is we match the mentor and the mentee based on needs. So for instance, if we have somebody from the LGBTQ community, we ask them for their needs, and then we try to find a mentor that can really relate to them because they ask for it, right? They want to feel that sense of community. They think that they can relate better to someone who has similar needs. So we match them up. They have one-on-one sessions. We follow up with them. That really, really helps them. And that is youth engagement as well, right? Because you're involving them. And then a lot of mentors actually come back and either become volunteers for us, mentees. So once they're done, years pass, they come back and they say, I would now like to be a mentor, right? Because they learned so much, they gained, and now they want to give back. And that's what I said. When they feel like they have been in meaningful connections, they always want to give back. And that has been really, really helpful for our program. And that's about it. I know I had limited time, so therefore kind of sped through that presentation. But if you have any further questions about how our programs are run or any other, questions about, you could contact me on my personal email or phone number. I would be happy to help.